So the original idea I had for the deck was to use cycling cards like Troll Khazad-dûm and Generous Ent, and then being able to bring them back using cards like Exhume. And of course, it was more of a recursion deck than anything, playing cards like Unearth to be able to bring back our other cards as well. So again, that was kind of the original plan, kind of also a little bit of semi-mill, but not really, using cards like Purple Belt Maverick to be able to surveil. And then we would play Delve creatures like Hooting Mandrills and Gurmag Angler, and yeah, so be able to do something like that. And then another part of the deck I wanted to do as well was play sacrifice outlets like Carrion Feeders and Viscera Seers, and you know, use cards like Shambling Gas and Blister Pods, and you can bring out cards like, well, Bone Pickers. So again, that was kind of like the original idea that I had, being able to kind of make a very fast clock and make my guys really big and cycle through my deck. But I had changed it up a bit. I didn't have, I guess I could play Rancors, but the idea behind Rancor was to pop up my creatures and to give it trample. But most of the time they would have removal, my opponent would, and just Rancor would not resolve, which would suck, or they would be counterspelled. So I had opted for Bone Splitters instead. I think that 2 Bone Splitters is wrong because it's not, I don't see it enough, and I don't have space really to kind of put more Bone Splitters in here. But when I do see one and I do resolve it, it's really strong and it's able to apply a lot of pressure on my opponent. So let me go through the deck. We are playing for Rebel Belt Maverick. It's essentially very important to either start with this early game. If we don't really see them, then the games are not as great, but it's okay. The deck is able to function without him, but the idea is to be able to surveil too, kind of churn through your deck, look through the top of the deck, manipulate it, throw cards away that you don't need, and then you can also exile this card from your graveyard by paying 1 green to put a +1 counter on a creature. Then we play 3 Slitherheads, so 1 mana, 1/1, not great, but it can scavenge for 0, so you can exile this card from your graveyard and put a +1 counter on a creature you control. Again, this is for 0 mana, so essentially for free. Then we play 1 Young Wolf. I've noticed that this card is just underperforms, I suppose. I was running it at 4, cut it down to 3, then a 2, and just, like the unsummon effects, like Unearthed, I just didn't want to bring this card back. It just felt like I didn't need it. So I did cut down Young Wolf to 1. It's still a very strong card, nonetheless, being able to manipulate +1 counters on it, because when it dies, it comes back as a 2/2. But the card that was just overshined everything was essentially Brindleshout. So this card is pretty much the key component of the deck because, sure, 2 mana, 1/1 is not very great, but when it dies, it gets a 3/3 board creature token. So the more it comes back and the more it dies, you just keep getting, a board token. So this card's very, very strong. Our sack outlets that we are playing are Biogroth. So as additional cost, you sacrifice a creature or pay 3, and it's a 5/4, so very strong. And next we play Chaos Bureau, which is another version of it. So we're playing 7 essentially, but for 1 more mana. So 3 mana, 5/4. Still not great, but you get to Blight too. So put 2 -1/-1 counters on a creature, which is normally going to die. Then we play 2 Dredge Manglers. So 3 mana, 3/3 with haste. So if you pair it with either the Rubber Belt, normally what we do is we use Slitherhead, so now it becomes a 4/4, so pretty sweet. This one I don't have, but it's Evolution Witness. The idea behind Evolution Witness is it's a 2/1, 3 mana, 2 colorless, 1 green, so 3 mana total. It's a 2/1, and it has an ability called Adapt, which means you pay 1 and you pay a green and 1, so you pay 2 mana. You can adapt it, put 2 +1 counters on her, and you can return a permanent card from your graveyard back to your hand. So what you do is you can activate her effect, you play Chaos Spear to put -2/-2 counters on it, and now you can use her effect again, which is pretty sweet. You can also put, for example, use his effect to put a plus encounter on her, and then use her effect, which is pretty nice too. So that's one way to be able to manipulate plus encounters in the deck. So yeah, I don't have any of her yet. Yet is a key word. I will be picking up some soon, hopefully. I'm still testing it to kind of just see and make it feel how. I actually really like it a lot. I think that I would want to play 3. Just be able to bring back Brindle Shoats is nice. Yeah. Okay. So next for the non-creatures is Unearthed. We're playing 4 ofs, so we can bring back cards like Chaos Viewers. We can also bring back the Evolution Witness. You can also bring back Dredge Manglers, which is great. And you can also bring back the Rebel Belt Mavericks. So yeah, Unearth is just very great because pretty much everything in our deck is 3 or less. So, and then the reason why I didn't want to play Exhume was because if our opponent has something in their graveyard, they also get to bring it back. So I didn't want that. And it's not always that we're going to be seeing Exhume or Unearth anyway. But when we do see it, it's great. It's great recursion. So yeah, you gotta do it again. Next we play 3 Eviscerator's Insight and 1 Reckoner's Bargain. I do believe that this card is a little bit better because all of our stuff has very low mana cost. So the Reckoner's Bargain only really works good with our 3 mana cross creatures. So we'll gain 3 life, draw 2 cards. Being able to have flashback and use it late game is better, in my opinion. So yeah. Next we play 4 Tragic Slips. Of course, our creatures are going to die, and that's okay. We want to get rid of our opponent's creatures, and especially if we block on our opponent's turn, we're going to get rid of stuff, so it's nice. We play Bog Slither's Embrace, so again, being able to manipulate plus encounters by using this card or this card, and then giving it -1/-1 counters is great. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. That's one reason why I'm playing Bog Slither's Embrace, to manipulate plus encounters, and also as Exiled creature, which is awesome. Then we play 3 Cast Downs, so just more removal. And then, like I mentioned, 2 Bone Splitters. I was able to fit in 2 Bone Splitters. I definitely want to run more. Yeah. Makes our creatures 3/1, which is a better clock than a 1/1. Next we play Colony Gardens. Obviously a great card in this deck. I was running at 1, then it bumped it up to 2, and then finally it ended up with 3. You can use cards, of course, like Bog Slither's Embrace, which has great synergy. You can use Eviscerator's Insights to draw some more cards. You can use Chaos Spewers, becomes fodder essentially. And you can also use Biograph, which is great. Another thing you can also do is equip it with Bone Splitters and apply more pressure on your opponent, which I've done before, which is kind of crazy, but it makes sense. And then I've also used these guys on them too. So it's a really cool synergistic deck to kind of pump and then use it as whatever it is you need. So yeah, it's great. We play 2 Forest, 1 Bajuka Bog, and yeah. We play 3 Swamps, and we're also playing 2 Golgari Raw Farms. Jungle Hollow, what the heck? That's the next card. So yeah, being able to bounce the Colony Gardens is great. Bajuka Bog, of course, but yeah, it's just great synergistic to be able to bounce our Colony Garden and then being able to use it again. Like I mentioned, of all the things that we can do with it is great. It is a very low to the ground creature deck, but most of our creatures are pretty much bigger than our opponent, and if it is bigger, we have removal spell for it. And then, of course, Jungle Hollow, so it's around out the deck. So, again, that's kind of the more or less what I've been trying to work on so far. I think that I do want to bump the Young Wolf up to 2, because there's times where I do miss it sometimes, but there's other times where I don't want to see it because it's super underwhelming. Especially if our opponent has like, you know, huge boards, and then you draw into Young Wolf, you're like, it's not going to do anything right now. Even paired with Bone Splitter, it's not enough. So that's one reason why I started cutting it, adding more removal, and adding cards like Dredge Mangler which has more of an impact because it also has great synergy in the graveyard as well. If you know, kind of like mid to late game, to be able to pump a creature, putting 3++1 counters on it is crazy. But normally using for the haste effect, so I do believe that this card is better. But anyway, that's what I've been running so far. So yeah, I don't have Evolution Witness, and I'll send you a picture of it. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of it, which is kind of cool. It's almost an infinite, not necessarily infinite, but you got 1 Evolution Witness and 2 Chaos Spewers. You can just keep going. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So anyway, that's it.